All right. Well, still in the parking lot, still at the hospital. Everything's going good. Just these things take time, but I should be home. As I'll do, I'll kind of segment out these videos and upload them because a lot of people don't want to watch the stream or, because it's in the middle of the night and they're kind of long or what have you. Or a lot of people don't even know about my channel yet because this is kind of a video. I put my email in the description and gotten a few hundred views at this point, which is kind of impressive because I haven't, like I said, the content was sparse towards the end of last year. I wasn't able to do as much as I wanted to. So I wasn't able to build a lot of a following. Most of my videos have like 10 views, but for whatever reason, that one's already got a few hundred. And yeah, I decided to read the comments on it. But like I said, I developed a rule mostly on my other channels when I'm talking about political or other topical stuff. You never read the comments, and if you do, you respond to them this way. And it's better to not even do it. It's better to either catch the stream live and get it to me that way, or hit me up and we could go live together and talk about things. I think that's the best way to do it. But for now, we'll read these. The first one, and they're not in order, but just the order they showed up. Malinka says, actually, before I read the comments, my brief overview of that video, West Side Story came out and it bombed. It's $100 million movie and it made $10 million bucks. And initially, people online, who knows how many people it actually was, but it was enough to warrant a response from other film media. People were writing articles, and there was a lot of discussion about it, so I gave my take. And that was that people were saying that the movie bombing had to do with the fact picked up. But anyways, people were blaming the film's, bad box office on Ansel Elgort having been Me Too'd a couple of years ago. And I said I didn't think that was the case because it wasn't one of the higher profile Me Too's. It wasn't super severe accusations, and a lot of people had forgot about it, and they would have taken him out of the movie if it was actually something serious. We saw that a bunch with, Kevin Spacey, and even before Me Too, they did that with the Seventh Heaven guy, because those were serious, substantially, there was substantial evidence with these claims. It wasn't just a Twitter post or something like that. So there wasn't a whole lot of meat behind the accusation anyways. And so, like Frozen, like an animated cartoon, it's really hard to make a big buck. You have exceptions. So there was people who probably wouldn't go see a musical, but they saw who was in that one, two big cultural icons, and heard all the buzz around the movie, and so they went and checked that one out. That was the exception to the rule, I think. Typically, they don't make a lot of money. Now, this one, you can argue, well, Steven Spielberg, he's obviously a cultural icon. And I'll say, yes, that's true, but the cast, if they think Ansel Elgort's a big enough name that he could have tanked this movie, that shows right there that the names didn't really have much of a draw outside of Steven Spielberg. And, there was a couple other things I brought up, COVID, and not just COVID the disease, but how the effect it's had on our economy. A lot of people aren't spending their money on movies right now. Or if they are, they're going to save it and just see like one or two movies. And they're not going to go see a movie just for the sake of, oh, that one looks kind of interesting. So a lot of people were probably saving their money for Spider-Man. That's what I said in that video. And here's a response to it. Malinka, Millenka, says, the reason Spielberg remade this movie and spent $100 million on it is because he loved the play and the soundtrack, and it was his dream to bring it onto the big screen for a new generation. Although it appears he may have failed in getting the younger generation to become interested to spend money on a movie ticket, the movie itself is far from a bomb. It's an excellent adaptation, and Weltneys are specifically involved. But there's other studios and everything like that that spent $100 million. So that's the main thing. If he wants to spend $100 million and risk losing it, that's fine. But there's other players that was basically the gist of my video, and the movie itself is far from a bomb. Now, I think you're just misunderstanding the normal definition of when people refer to a movie as a bomb. It's never the quality of the movie. Typically in this space, and you can have your own definition, you must be misunderstanding the general definition that people use when they refer to a movie as a bomb is it didn't make any money. That's a pretty well-known term. You must have just not realized it. And there was a couple other people in the comments that said it's not a bomb, it's awesome. It's like, well, yeah, there's a lot of bombs that are awesome. A bomb means it doesn't make any money. I thought I made that clear in the video, and I thought a lot of people that would be checking out film content would know the typical definition of the word. But everyone has their own terms, I guess. But you should know that when I refer to something as a bomb, I'm talking about it not making any money. John Holgate says, I agree on Ansel Elgort. I think the COVID scare and Spider-Man hype are the main reasons why it hasn't done so well. It's wintertime also. People want to go to the movies, but they have to moderate their selections, especially if they have kids. The choice is you don't want to see so many movies, so do you go for the action movie with great special effects, or do you go for the musical remake? There's also the streaming option. People will be willing to wait for it to come out for home viewing. Their money. He's talking about the COVID scare, talking about people are scared to go to the movies because they don't want to get COVID. And at this point, there is a small selection of people that still fall into that kind of mind frame. And yeah, those would be the movies, or those would be the people that would be interested in a movie like this. We're talking mostly left-leaning, politically, probably really buy into, media propaganda. But that's obviously not a big chunk of people because Spider-Man just made $1 billion. So I don't think it's as much that as people want to think. I think, okay, we're not going to blame Ansel Elgort, but let's blame COVID. Because you can't just say, oh, it was a bad idea to spend $100 million on this movie. That's my opinion on it. Let's see. Next one. And the streaming thing, Spider-Man didn't do maybe as well as it could have if people didn't know that that's the window that you have to wait is not as big as it used to be. I mean, these things are in streaming usually within a few months of their original theatrical release nowadays. Sonia Chappell says the group of people who'd see this remake, the mature age bracket, are hesitant to sit in a movie theater and possibly catch COVID. That's why it's bombed, in quotes. And it's also going up against Marvel. It's not to do with Ansel, the movie quality, or anything else. I just think it's because the people who'd go see it aren't going to the movies at the moment. And yeah, I think that's basically what I said in the video. So this is just a long way of saying you agree with me, which is why this would be better as a live chat or you calling into the show or something like that. I don't understand why the comment here. But the other thing is it's going up against Marvel. I don't think it's a shock to anybody that Spider-Man was the biggest movie of the year, or the biggest movie in the pandemic era. Like that's not really a good excuse because they should have known that it wasn't they should have known to be worried about that. So it's fact. I think Spider-Man obviously did cut into this movie. But also, that they obviously didn't think that that was going to be an issue because they decided to put it there. And I don't know if they wanted to get it out this year so bad because it has been sitting on the shelf for like 2 years. Before COVID, I think they wrapped filming this movie in like 2019. So they probably just wanted to get it out and, get the award noms going. And this next one is from G. Schreckster. And it's a long one, so I might not read the whole thing. My recommendation to you would be hit up that email, and I'll send you a link to StreamYard, and we can have a conversation about this live. And, a lot of the points that he brought up in this article, Jesus, it's a comment, but it's basically an article, because I do not understand sitting here typing this out when you could just shoot me an email and tell me this, call into the show. One of the reasons it hasn't been a big hit at the box office so far is because many people still aren't going back to the movies, at least people who would be interested in this movie. People I know who have gone to the movie didn't even know who Ansel was before the movie came out. Many fans of the 61 movie don't understand why Spielberg would remake a movie that won 10 Oscars. However, if they'd go see Spielberg's reimagining of the movie, they'd figure it out. Well, okay, so since this one is so big, I'll take it piece by piece. So, the people who would see this aren't going to the movies. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Everybody else has said that. I said that. But you also have to realize that if they really wanted to, they would go see it. If they were really worried about seeing this movie right away, then they would go see it. But it's not really a good excuse anymore, even though it probably is what's happening. But we have had a lot of movies this year with a lot of success. So you just have to do a better job at marketing the movie, I think. Because it's not like, oh, I really wanted to see that, but COVID, it's like, no, I'm going to take the risk. And if you're that worried about COVID, then you're probably vaccinated and you're probably in a low risk bracket anyway. So, that's an excuse we're going to hear every time a movie bombs. Don't understand why Spielberg would remake a movie. Maybe, but that wouldn't really be the thing that made you decide one way or the other on going to see it. I don't really buy that either, because it's like, yeah, you could question that, but it's like, oh, I wanted to see that movie, but it's a remake. Everything that comes out is remakes, so I don't really understand that point of view. Whatever. We'll move on. I love the original movie. Spielberg improves it in many areas. I think it may take a while, but the positive reactions people are having about this movie will continue to spread, and the movie will eventually make a decent showing. I agree. On streaming. As its predecessor did, this movie will become one of the all-time great movie musicals. I can't speak to that. I'm not a musical guy. I haven't seen this. By the way, Spielberg reimagined West Side Story because he loved the original Broadway show and the original movie so much. Yeah, that's why anybody makes any movie that's not just a popcorn paycheck, thing. If you're going to write something, produce something, and direct it, then you obviously have an attachment to it. So, yeah, let's see. This was an act of love that involved Sondheim, the Bernstein family, and other parties that were part of the creation of the original production and movie. It's very interesting to watch some of the interviews with Spielberg and the cast about the making of the movie. As Spielberg says, making a movie musical is much harder than making a regular movie, I would imagine. I've seen the movie 5 times now. And see, that's the other thing, is there's been a few other comments of people saying that they've seen this multiple times. So, to me, that just shows that it wasn't marketed very well, because it's kind of a niche movie. If you're going to see it, you're going to love it. I haven't seen any negative reviews about this movie. In fact, everybody flipped out when I said it was bomb because they happened to like the movie. Oh, there's an alarm going off. I think someone's fucking with me. Let these people walk by. I don't know what that was about. So yeah, a lot of people went and saw it multiple times. So just like Spider-Man, just like everything else, I've seen Spider-Man a couple of times at this point. I know a lot of people that have. If you're a movie fan and you're into something and you have the money to spend, then you're going to do that. This wasn't anything that anybody needed to get out and see right this second. At least not a giant chunk of people. That's the way I see it. The music, the acting, the singing, the choreography, the art direction are all outstanding. The Puerto Ricans are played by actual Latinos, and the original actors darken their skin to look like what they thought Latinos should look like. Even Marino, who won an Oscar for her part in the original, had to darken her face, and she is actually Puerto Rican. Okay, so I never got too far into it because I didn't care a whole lot and I have no knowledge of this movie. Is that what people were talking about when they were calling this movie woke? It's woke because they didn't use white people? If that's why they're calling it woke, that's hilarious. Someone should let me know if that's why, because that's kind of silly. That was the other reason people were saying this movie might have bombed, is because it's the woke version of West Side Story. And I had no idea what that meant because I don't know what West Side Story is, and the definition of woke gets kind of weird nowadays. The story in the reimagining is more complete, and you find out more about the various characters. This is a gorgeous movie. Spielberg will eventually make his money back, as if he has to worry about money. And yeah, it's not really him that's worried about money right now. And also, you do, worry about money. You want everything you do to make money. Obviously, you get a cult thing. That's pretty good, too. But, all right, let me scroll down here. I'll do one more. Okay, I'll do 2 more, because they're quick. Christopher Sten says, I'm not going to see this movie either. I would spend my money on Spider-Man No Way Home. Yep, that's what I'm saying, but I wouldn't have seen this movie anyways. Esther414 says, I've seen it 4 times already, and it does not bomb. It is excellent in all respects, IMO. in my opinion. So much so that the movie has garnered 11 Critics' Choice nominations. Oscar nods will certainly be forthcoming. Okay, I'll watch your video now. Have a good day. And I could give a fuck about awards. None of the past, except there's been a few exceptions, maybe. I haven't agreed with any of the award show wins or nominations from the Critics' Choice or Oscars or anything for the past probably ever, actually. They've never aligned with my interests, so that doesn't mean shit to anything. Plus, good Oscar-winning movies are rarely giant successes anyways. So it's kind of weird that you would compare the two. It doesn't bomb. It's won 11 Critic Choice nominations. Okay, that doesn't mean it's going to make money, though. In fact, it's usually the opposite. If there's a movie that the critics like a lot, with a few exceptions, obviously, that's not a movie that's going to make a shit ton of money at the box office. It's just not. Those are kind of niche films. And, yeah, another person who probably purposely misunderstands the definition of a bomb just because they're mad that someone's saying that something that they liked bombed, and so they're upset about that. And I might be misinterpreting that, but that's because you commented and you didn't get a link to go on StreamYard and actually talk with me about it. You left a comment, so I'm left to try to figure out what you meant by myself, because I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth with you typing it out. So if you have more to say, if I'm misinterpreting what you mean, any of these people, hit up the email and get a link, and you could go live with me on one of these shows, or we can record it and I can insert it into one of the shows later on. But yeah, this is not a good way to respond, but since I'm sitting here looking for something to do, and, I had some free time, and I wanted to make some content before, just while I'm sitting here. So that'll do it for this one. Thanks for everybody that did watch and comment on that video. But like I said, that's not really the best thing to do unless you're watching it live and I can actually respond in person and we can go back and forth right there. This is not the best way to express yourself, I don't think. And it's kind of silly to me that someone would sit here and write out a comment that big instead of just calling up. But regardless, keep an eye out. Midnight Movie Talk will start up again as soon as I get home from the hospital. So hopefully this next week I'll keep everybody posted on that. Until then, thanks for watching, and go see West Side Story, I guess, because a lot of people think that it's deserving of your ticket money. So yeah, wrapping it up. Thanks for watching. Bye.